I wanted to talk to you a little bit about how you see our hometown and, neighbor to neighbor news working together. Like how has it gone for you these past 3 years, just kind of in general, but specifically, let's start with this question. What made you choose our hometown 3 years ago when we first met? What made you decide to switch from the other vendor?
Frankly, one of the things, I've worked with the other vendor for many years, but how responsive you guys have been, or you guys at least gave us the idea that you would be responsive, and it turned out that it's the case. So
Great.
The support, I probably ran you through a few more hoops than you would have liked as far as design the site, and that's why I keep talking about we got to bring it back in. I asked my staff, what would you like it to look like? And somebody said, oh, NPR is nice, and I'm pleased with the work setting it up.
Great.
Any bumps along the road were fixed, so.
Let's talk about that for a second, like the prototyping process. How did that go? You sent us the link, you said it wanted to look like NPR, and then we just kind of made changes and there was just a bunch of back and forth, or how did that go from your perspective?
A lot of back and forth and a lot of things. I don't know if they were screenshots or things that I in a PDF or some way or other that got into the system. And I remember talking to you about, what the most popular design was. And at the time it was that conglomeration, as I call it, old-fashioned 150-year-old newspaper, but, up at the top, a bunch of images so that you click on to get to things. And I said, no, no,
thank you.
We're not going to do that, and that was no problem. I mean, I didn't have to fit into a cookie cutter kind of thing. So that, that was one of the things. Price was right. The things we discussed early on, some of them we've implemented, some of them we haven't. You're usually a little ahead of, things I ask for, and then we got to catch up with staff and remembering to use them.
Are there any other features that come to mind? I really appreciate what you said in your email and what you just said about how we're ahead of the game and we're trying to drive things forward, and you guys feel like you're catching up with us, not that, you're pushing us to do things. So are there any other examples of that you can think of?
Well, I think, you're doing the audio now, but I think I mentioned today you have to be able to start, stop, throw away, start over again quickly and inexpensively, and so that's what we're trying to do.
That's totally. And what you said about how a lot of the companies out there have been doing this stuff. They've been putting a lot of money into all these, innovative new features, but then, they could only do that because they were, funded by venture capital, or they're like these giant conglomerate companies. So in that way, I think that we do uniquely serve the weekly paper because we're kind of taking on that responsibility of the R&D.
That's key for smaller organizations, even larger, smaller organizations. I mean, we're, we have six papers, but put them all together and you've got, 16,000 print circulation, so it's we're not a big organization, even though we have titles,
Right.
So, it's essential that we have a partner in terms of, willing to try things at your expense.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know WordPress, I'm not I've used other people's systems, but I'm not but I know that an awful lot of younger designers, younger bloggers, you say WordPress, they know what you're talking about.
But I wanted to dig into what you just said about it being on WordPress. Can you talk a little bit about, because you are self-service, meaning you publish all the stories yourself, and you do the stories over the course of the week, you're putting up articles, right?
They tend to go up around our print date, but we do put them up during the week, and that's one of our goals, is to alter when things are going up and alter what becomes the feature story or the feature story on the website, or whether it's web first or print first, or a combination. That's so. And I've just actually advertised for somebody on the side hustle side. Okay. As support for our editorial staff, and we haven't really developed the whole format for what we want. But I'm looking for somebody, or looking for a number of people, whatever it works out to be, somebody that can communicate with our professional journalists and give them some support, and have them say, okay, these are the stories I want to go up at certain times, and not have to have the editor or a reporter actually
logging in
and doing it. Now that's certainly possible in your system. Easy, really, I guess.
The scheduling.
So that's something that I know that we can do better. Basically, most of us in the small newspaper business are asking our journalists to be web hosts, webmasters, whatever it is to call them.
Right.
I don't know if webmaster even exists anymore. We've replaced that, probably. We don't have that position. We won't have that position.
Right.
But we have duties that need to be done by somebody.
Right.
And content is our, I think I said in the email to you, I'm in the fee for content business.
Right.
We love print, we enjoy what can be done on the web, but however our customers, our readers, our viewers want it, is how we have to deliver it. And we're a paid subscription organization. So, it's a phrase now. Happy contact, it's king, and been saying that for decades. But the technology is changing and caught up to that idea. Every market's different, every publisher's different. So I'm not here to say the only way you can survive is with subscription revenue. But for us, that's key, and that's another thing that's made easy is the ability to get our subscriptions paid for online.
Right. I mean, there's a whole bunch that you just said there that I kind of want to unpack, but we've got subscription page here. This is kind of interesting. You're promoting subscriptions to all the papers on this one site, on this one subscribe page. So in case people, maybe it's a better fit to be a subscriber to Elma Review, but they wound up on this page, there's options for that. But if we just want to look at East Aurora, what you're doing right now, this is, pretty typical pricing, I would say, like in this range, what you're doing. I usually just focus on the monthly. So $5.59 per month for unlimited access and auto renewal. So this model is very good. I mean, have you had any response from readers on, the different subscription options and the ease of the auto renewal? Has anyone said anything about that?
Yeah, well, customers, they rarely call.
They're probably not going to volunteer that.
This is great. This is great that you're charging me money.
Right. Yeah.
So usually we would hear from the more, I tried this and I'm confused as to how it works. And we usually handle those, on the phone with a real live person. And it's an area, again, where we need to do more to understand all the nuances of the system. Getting the print subscribers who've paid for total access, to get in and create an account, as opposed to the ones who, if everybody created online, that would be wonderful.
Right. Oh, but, sure. Yeah. Bringing the two together. So the print only
checks that come in the mail and, a number of those people want to get the full access. So it's possible and we're doing it, but that's an area we're working on. But I think I talked to you about or sent an email to just, we have to start thinking about, this is still a pretty traditional subscription plan.
Right. Right.
So we have to start thinking about in the future, probably not too far in the future.
Right.
What are we going to do? Are we going to look more like if you go to Vimeo and say, okay, here's a free for a period of time. Here's an upgrade. Here's an upgrade. Here's an upgrade.
Yes. Right.
Okay. We don't really offer that.
Right.
So that's something we got to look at. And the other thing I talked about, and again, I don't know who it applies to or whether it would work, but rather we have use your meter up.
Right.
And then we ask you, do you want to subscribe? Or we actually ask you every time the meter kicks down. That's something that you added for us.
I know. I remember that. Yeah.
Because previously it just said, you have 3 more uses and didn't offer the chance to subscribe at any point until the end.
I remember that. Yes, I remember that very well. I just want to make everyone clear on this, just so everyone on the call knows. Before grants, we did not even count down the meter. We did not show how many you had left or anything. And you were just kind of like, this is a little user unfriendly. Yeah. So we added that. We added so that it tells you that this is a meter. It tells you how many you have left every page visit. And then eventually it brings up the paywall. Right.
And then each level, if you use it, if you have 4 left, it gives you an opportunity to subscribe 3
the whole time.
Till the end. Right. So if you like what you see, you can go from there.
That's right. Yes, that's a key point that I just skipped right over. We always want to make it easy for people to subscribe. Whenever they're ready to subscribe, it needs to be just super easy. Right. That's no hurdles.
The thing I was talking about was, okay, if in addition to thinking about levels,
right,
instead of just we have a 7-day, you run out your meter, you can buy a 7-day for $2.99, I think it is.
Right.
There it is.
Yep.
Okay. What if we did and this is, from the cell phone world. Okay.
Right.
What if you could buy, we'll call them minutes. Okay.
Right.
But if you go to some of the, senior citizen kind of phone plans where you get 30 days
prepaid
and minutes.
Yeah.
What if we offered, 60 days and 25 articles?
Right. I wanted to ask you about this. Okay. Because this is an opportunity for us to add more features and add more options for subscribers, which I think is always not always a good thing. You don't want to have 100 different subscription options, but you want to have more approaches to it. So what you're talking about is a blended meter and timed model.
So you're not sure how often you want to visit the site, how many stories, but 1 month or one visit, you go through all your meter. Okay.
Right.
Then the choice is 7 days or a full subscription. Okay. So what I was thinking of adding, and this was just a brainstorm. No market research behind it, other than other people do this in a different form.
Right.
Say, okay. Maybe you'd like to subscribe for 60 days and a certain number of meters.
Right.
So you have 60 days and 75 articles, or and then maybe if you get somebody in that mode, and I don't know whether you'd want to go into an auto pay, that might be too complicated at that point. But if you get somebody for 60 days and X number of visits, they may spend more time on your site and learn to love it, and then say, okay, now we'll get a full year's subscription.
Right.
Or we'll get an auto pay subscription.
Right.
So it gives people an incentive to read more.
Right.
Still keeping the meter locked down tight.
Right.
And give them a chance to read more.
I see. I see. Okay. All right. So just to be totally clear, in this example of 60 days and 20 stories, let's just say, um, they would have 60 days, but during those 60 days, they could only look at those 20 stories.
Yeah, they'd run out.
Okay. So it's kind of like
time or run out of meter.
so it's kind of okay. So it's just
I
like
love
extending
this.
the meter.
I
Yeah.
love this idea. To me, okay, say you're in the hospital, your wife had a baby, you're there for 3 days.
This month, yeah.
Instead of buying a parking ticket for 1 day in the parking garage, now you're going to buy a 3-day pass. It lets you, you get so many punches on that pass, and then you have to buy a new one. I love this idea. That would be cool if we could get that to work.
Right. Yeah.
It seems within the very similar technology, and I have no idea. So it seems it's very similar to metering. It's only adding, and a 7-day pass is the time for side. So we have the meter, and we have the days, which is a subscription, whether it's 365 or 7. We have that now. Can you carry the two? I don't know.
Right.
And does anybody want it? I don't know.